Well, I first met Greg about a year ago when I started working at the Chamber, and he was this larger-than-life person that walked into the room with a great big smile on his face, and you just felt comfortable as soon as he walked in. He's very personable. He wanted to know about you. He didn't have a lot to say about himself, but he wanted to know about you, and that to me shows a caring personality and a caring individual that really wants to help people succeed. What I've seen from what Action Coach has been able to do, they've been able to bring out success in these new businesses, try and find some of the things that may be hiding that people may not be aware of, that he can help bring out and just improve business and help people be more successful in what they do. Well, we have a lot of our members asking about these opportunities, and they're familiar with Action Coach. Greg is in the community, not just with his business, but he is in the community in other active ways, and people are getting to know Greg and they're getting to know what Action Coach can do for them. So we're getting inquiries as to what Action Coach is, how Action Coach might be able to help them out in their organizations.
January 1st, 2000, we incorporated Fox Renovations with myself and my 2 young sons. It finally got to the point where we had a dozen installers, and we did that for about 2 years, and it was a struggle. We didn't have the business background to grow with it. Yes, there was bigger numbers involved. Was there a bigger net profit? No. More headaches? Yes. Thus our trip to listen to Greg. Now I've committed to someone saying, I will follow your advice, understanding that it's tailored to me and my business. It was hard to be patient for the first while because we were doing so much in-house to see and track then the growth of the company from a time where we had no idea the importance of or how to create a budget that the company is going to ultimately run by. If you need 50 pounds of nails, you go buy 50 pounds of nails. And then somebody pays you and you've recovered your cost, plus hopefully enough to feed you, etc., etc. However, suddenly here you are doing a detailed budget analysis of your company and saying, I need this per month in sales with this projected net profit with, and here's my overhead, and on, and understanding where your money's coming from and ultimately where it's going. I would say it took, in our case, with me personally, probably a year for that to really start to gel and make sense. And we found ourselves then making decisions based on this new data that we had and an appreciation for what that data meant. Try it out. Go and see. Listen. Ask well thought out questions. It's your business's future and your peace of mind and future that's involved here. You need to be sure. And there's every chance. Maybe you're not ready at this point, but maybe you are. And maybe you need to do this, understanding that it is going to be an investment. I was impressed by the way Greg put himself across as someone with integrity, someone with a background, a knowledge base, and an experience that he could then draw on. Because one of my questions was, well, Greg, how do you know what to do with my business? You're not a renovator. So I'm facing these challenges. And so we talked a lot about the similarities. A business is a business is a business, and there's certain principles that follow through. You're not that unique in your needs and your desires. We've been involved with the Action Coach program for about 1.5 years. It's gone from a situation where we kind of have a target for a yearly volume, and we hope we can get there and it all falls into place. That'd be great. To assigning a yearly volume and a monthly volume and a weekly volume and saying, here's what we need to do to reach those targets. Doing business on purpose, by design, rather than by accident.
Avison Young is a full commercial real estate brokerage. We handle office leasing, office sales, building sales, land sales, and then all forms of industrial leasing, industrial sales. So the full gamut with the exception of residential brokerage. So we got into a situation where we needed to grow the brokerage, grow some revenue, grow the business, and probably add more businesses to Avis & Young. So we looked at a couple different businesses that we liked, that we felt that we could acquire, and with that came the challenge of figuring out how to do that, and that's what led us to ActionCOACH. We I guess in essence plateaued in our business, wanted to grow higher, get there within a 5-year time frame, but really didn't have the skill set or the time and energy to really know how to do that. So we incorporated ActionCOACH, and it's been a great experience. Avis & Young's been with Greg for the past 6 months. I can say that we've had a great experience, and I feel as though we've collectively controlled our goals, found some goals, formed some goals, and moved and strived to achieve them. And it's all been because of the accountability, I guess, that ActionCOACH has placed back on us to do so. And we've seen an increase in revenue. We're planning to right now acquire some other businesses to complement the brokerage. And without probably the last 6 months in our lives, chances of that happening were probably slim. So I can honestly say that it's been very beneficial being a part of it. The cost of it was never a factor for us. It was a choice to take it on, and it was a small financial price to pay for ultimately one day, achieving what we deem to be our goals. Well, for me, it was easy. I could sense right from the initial conversations and meetings that we were having that he was a good fit for us. My partner and myself are different, and we needed someone that would complement our partnership and challenge us, and that was something that we understood Greg could do right from the start, was challenge us, hold us accountable, and that's where we fall down, and that's where we don't succeed. So his personality has allowed us to stay the course and hold us accountable, keep us in line, and keep us focused. So great guy. I would recommend him to a friend, a family member, a business partner, or someone just asking, with direction where to go with their business. I would recommend Greg, for sure.
I'm always the kid that probably growing up always asked why. Why? Why this? Why that? So in the early days with Greg and I, we always asked, why, Greg? How do you know, Greg? You're not in business. You've never been in the roofing business. How do you know? Right? So there was a lot of challenging, bickering back and forth, right? And it wasn't him fighting me, it was him just trying to get through my thick skull. So when he says, in most cases, the biggest problem in a company is the actual leader that's in it. If you just remove them, the company would probably run just fine. So who was the biggest obstacle? It was me. So Greg and I fought quite a bit because I am an obstacle, okay, to him trying to actually teach. In other words, I had to open up my mind. Greg is definitely, I would have to say, very learned. Learned not necessarily in school, but in his job as an action coach. I think that's why he's one of the higher ranked action coaches, because of the work he puts in. Very, very studious with what he's learned and whatnot. He always has some new concept or things I forget about that he brings up to the table again. So he's constantly in your face, pushing you. And I guess that's what a coach is supposed to do. So I'd say some of his best traits are just his persistence with us guys. Greg and I just got along. What I liked was it was a worldwide system. In other words, other people were using it around the world, of which they defined a business, that whatever it is a business. So I liked, the initial principles, etc. I guess that's maybe why I stuck with it for so long. And when did I really know I learned a lot? When I had to teach it. Now, I'm not an action coach, I don't teach it, but I have to teach a lot of these principles to our team. So we do team meetings, we do foreman and lead hand trainings, etc., right? So I have to teach a lot of these same principles to them. So I take what I learned there and use it. So that's when it sunk into me, was when I had to teach it. And some of my guys who come to me and go, where did you learn all this stuff? I'm like, I really don't know. I just learned it. But it was from the constant seminars. I never missed them. as a business owner, you think for the first time in your life you're free. And you kind of are. You have no one to answer to anymore. However, one of the best things for us is to have somebody to answer to other than our wives. So having a coach is someone to answer to who is intimately involved in your business and truly cares about your success in it. So you need somebody to push you, right? Oh, I'm perfectly fine being self-motivated. Yeah, I thought I was that guy too. I think I'm actually quite self-motivated. However, I need sometimes a different set of ideals or someone else just to come to me with a different idea. So I know, oh, okay, that's a different way of looking at things, right? Because we all think we see something one way and that's the way it is. It doesn't necessarily make it the only way. We've been with ActionCOACH since May of 2009, I believe it is. So that's just over 3 years. Since then, we've done millions of dollars more in business. But most of all, we're simply just billionaires in training.
We've been growing at a very fast pace, which is a good problem to have, but I was feeling like it was starting to get a little bit out of my element, a little bit out of my control, and I knew that there were, that there's probably some service out there that could assist with that, whether it's a, we looked into specifically catering consultants, consider talking to our accountants, but we have a relationship with another local business that uses we knew they used a business coach, we didn't know who, and so we talked to him and asked him for his feedback, and he strongly recommended that we talk to ActionCOACH. I placed a lot of value on the opinions and experiences of other business people who I view to be successful, and so the referral, I think, carried a lot of weight. And then when I met with Greg personally, I liked his approach, I liked his his knowledge and the way that ActionCOACH seemed to be structured. I thought it was something worth giving a try. Greg personally, he's very likable. He's very easy to get along with and very knowledgeable, and that's what I find impressive, is that he has a lot of knowledge in a lot of different areas. I think where he could add a lot of value is to businesses that are struggling because the owners are working around the clock, just slugging away and maybe barely making it by, and wondering, why am I doing this? And we've been there and done that, and luckily we're not there anymore. But we were at a point where, just kind of in spite of ourselves, our business has grown, and we just needed, we needed some real depth of experience in business to come in and kind of help us evaluate where we are and what we need to put in place to continue that growth and not have it so precarious. I felt it was very precarious because it was relying on a couple of key people, and if something happened to those key people, what would we do? And so, we're kind of, I guess we're strengthening the core of the business to allow for future growth. Systemize the rule and individualize the exception. And so for probably 90% of everything you do, there should be a system in place that can cover that. And maybe only 10% of what you do should be an exception or an individual decision. And I think that was important to realize, that everything that we do almost can be systemized. You have to be prepared to really get in there yourself and do the work necessary, do the homework, do the work that is required to put some of these things in place. So I think, but the rewards can definitely be there.